It's a Leo full moon this week, so let them hear you roar. Good morning all, my name is Comet. This is Magic Monday. Welcome to your astrological forecast for the week of January 30th to February 5th, 2023. What the astrology of the week ahead has in store for us and how we are going to co-create with these energies. So what cosmic blessings we are going to seize and what celestial challenges we are going to navigate our way around. And I am here every single week. I upload these on Sunday in my cosmic corner with a beverage in hand. This week we've got kombucha in a wine glass because I'm being extra. It's a Leo full moon. If you guys are not being extra as well, I deeply recommend it. Okay, this Leo full moon is a little bit dramatic. It's a little over the top, right? It's like, why just drink a kombucha when I can make it very dramatic in a wine glass? Why just tell you that I love you when I could do this huge heartfelt display? Why would I just chill on the couch when I could put on a record and pretend I'm in my own music video? This is a dramatic full moon. It lives from the heart. It's big feels, big love, big mad, big all of the things. And this full moon is a firecracker. It squares up with Uranus. So when there's a Uranian full moon, my love, expect the unexpected. This is things outside of the norm. This is heartfelt revelations that are unexpected. This is feeling restless and like you just want to do something crazy, do something dramatic, do something over the top. And my love, so long as it's safe, I and the astrology this week do somewhat encourage it. So outside of that dramatic Leo full moon that we'll be chatting about, we have Sun square Uranus, we have Venus square Mars. It's a passionate week, my loves. And this Leo full moon truly asks us, are we living from the heart? What does our heart say? What is our heart telling us, right? This is a week that is very heart-centered. It's bold. Maybe it's a little over the top. Maybe it's a little dramatic, but it's better to be too much than not enough. That's what this Leo full moon is reminding us. And if your heart is telling you that you would like to dive deeper into astrology, learn about astrology and learn about yourself within a supportive cosmic container, my love, I have two opportunities to study with me this spring, winter-ish. If you're craving a really deep exploration, you can join me for my Align workshop series. It's an extension of my existing course, which is Self-Care Astrology, which is a self-paced course that you can jump into at any time. But the benefit of jumping in before February 11th is that you get some extra perks included. So you'll get 4 masterminds aligned with the new and full moons throughout your journey. So it's about a bi-weekly schedule because the course is 8 weeks. So every other week we connect as a celestial community. We give you feedback. We look at your chart. We answer all of your questions. We set our new moon intentions. We have our full moon ceremonies. I've done these little cohorts in the past and I think it's just so helpful to hear other people's questions and journeys and practice on their charts and get your chart read. So if you are craving a deep dive into better understanding astrology, better understanding yourself, that is a great option. And the perks included is not only just the masterminds, but you also get personal voice memos from me. I send you one every single Monday as you move through your course with essentially focusing on different components of your natal chart that are coming to the surface, certain transits that you should be mindful of, as well as just being there as your guide if any questions come up as you work through the modules. And the other opportunity to study with me is it's a new course. It's called the Luminary of Self-Care. And it is a 4-week program that looks at the moon in astrology. So we take the moon through all of its nuances, moon by sign, moon by house, moon by aspect, moon by phase, as well as have 2 masterminds, so aligned with the new and full moon, so bi-weekly as well as weekly voice memos from me as you work through the program. So while both of these offerings will be available within a self-paced container, they will not include the masterminds and the voice memos moving forward. So if you are feeling called and you really love having that one-on-one support, you love having that community of fellow astrology lovers, I deeply recommend jumping in. And without further ado, let's go ahead and take it into Vibe Check of the Week. Cheers, my loves. And just another reminder, my loves, this is kombucha. It kind of looks like a mimosa in the viewfinder. It is kombucha, but no judgment if anybody happens to be sipping mimosa. The new upload date is Sunday morning after all. So cheers, my loves. Let's make it a magical week. So let's take it into vibe check of the week, which is essentially when we liken the week's astrology to a real life scenario. So that even if you don't know the intricacies of what it means if a full moon is squaring off with Uranus, or what it means when Sun sextiles Chiron, you have a real life scenario that you can begin to tune into to understand how these themes come to the surface, as well as tune into how they may come to the surface within your universe. So this week's astrology feels like a heartfelt, over-the-top dramatic expression of affection. I want you to think of the scene in the movie, and I know you've seen a scene like this, where it's like the entire movie, the characters have not been getting along, they're not able to express to the other person how it is that they feel, and then it's always like a really down-to-the-wire moment, like one of the characters is going to get married, or one of the characters is going to move away to go follow their dreams of being a Broadway star, and then the other character is like, wait, but I love you. It's like, why did you say this in the first place, right? And it's always like so dramatic, like they run to the other person, they get there in the nick of time. It's usually like raining or something. They like show up at their doorstep. It's like, what are you doing here? You couldn't have called or texted, hey, want to get married? Change my mind. I'm actually in love with you. No, it always needs to be dramatic and over the top. And don't we love that? We love little romantic over the top displays. Like, is it erratic? Is it bizarre? Certainly this is a week with Uranus aspects. So it's like, you really couldn't have called. You really couldn't have texted. No, it had to be over the top, and it had to be following what your heart says. And I keep emphasizing, what does your heart say? What does your heart say? Because we do have a Leo full moon, and every sign in astrology governs one or more body parts. And one of the body parts that Leo rules is the heart, which is why Leo placements are so heartfelt, right? When they love you, it's so warming. They are really about what it is that they are really about, right? They put their heart and soul into it. They're very creative. They live with heart, truly. It's the best way to describe them. And with this Leo full moon, there is this building influence this week around, what does my heart say? And I know that's like so cliche, like follow your heart, but that's what this week's astrology asks us to. And follow your heart, even if it's unpopular, even if it's not what society or other people would want you to do, right? With the square to Uranus, it's essentially asking, how is it that you can follow your heart and express yourself boldly, whether it's expressing your affections boldly, whether it's expressing your creations boldly. It's asking you to live within that authentic heart space. What does your heart say about this person, about this situation? And with the square to Uranus, some people might be like, okay, that's a little over the top. You didn't have to run here in the rain. Or like, okay, that creation that you did is a little weird. It's a little out there. Like I said, this is a big theme with Aquarius season, as well as with the Uranus aspects. It's like, our truth is going to be messy. Our truth is going to be over the top. The truth is going to be dramatic. But this full moon reminds us it's better to be too much than not enough, okay? So embrace the too much. Embrace what your heart is telling you. Embrace what your passions are signaling to you, even if they're not the neat and tidy box that society or other people would want to put you into. You do not belong in a box. So the other reasons why this week's astrology feels like this outside of the Leo full moon is the Sun sextile Chiron, which is this healing flow of energy, right? It is very healing when you can finally let your guard down and be like, I love you. I've been running from this the whole time, but I love you. Like, there is a healing around finally being able to be honest, right? To be authentic. We also have Venus square Mars. So mentally, when I was thinking through this vibe check, I'm thinking about one of those movies with like their enemies to lovers arc, where it's like they're beefing, they're not getting along, you don't understand me, and then at the end they like run to each other, I love you, never mind. Because with Venus square Mars, you know, our passions can be heightened, right? And we could feel this as feeling more frustration. We could feel this as, you know, our passion for our loved one sort of boiling over into a lover's quarrel or something of that nature. And so we'll be chatting about this day by day. I just want to let you know that all timestamps are available below. If I mention a time, it is PST, aka GMT -8. So adjust your time zone before you put in your planner. If you want the times of all of the aspects already dialed in, make sure to check out the join button to see more about Magic Monthly. In the Galaxies tier, I make you a little digital planner so that you have it handy. And without further ado, let's dive in the Magic Monday forecast for Monday, January 30th. So good morning. Welcome to your forecast for Monday, January 30th. So the moon enters Gemini shortly after midnight, which it'll be all day. And its first order of business at 9:24 a.m. is to square Venus in Pisces. And we chatted about this last week, but Venus is in its exaltation within Pisces, right? So we're feeling more romantic. We're feeling more inclined to want to attune to the synchronicities and art and music, which is why the vibe check this week is these really heartfelt displays of affection. Like if anybody lives their life, and particularly their romantic life, like, oh, no, don't leave, I love you. It's Leo and Pisces. They elevate every experience, even dates, into this work of art, right? They will write poetry about someone that they just met, right? And maybe not even just because they, are suckers or they fall in love easily, but they love love. They love living from the heart. They love making little dates and little experiences a big deal, right? They love making it dramatic, right? And with the Gemini moon squaring off with Venus in Pisces, the Gemini moon is in our mind. It wants to connect. It's currently a waxing gibbous moon, right? So we're wanting to harmonize, we're wanting to get along. The Gemini moon does trine Sun in Aquarius. So we're chatting with the coworkers, we're chatting with people online, we're wanting to feel connected to a community. But just with that early morning Gemini moon squaring off with Venus and Pisces, our desire to want to find the beauty and the harmony around us might be clashing with us being in our mind. So again, Gemini moon being like, you have to get to work, but Venus and Pisces is saying, but wait, let's listen to this album and take a long time to get ready. But the Gemini moon's like, let's get to work. Let's not romanticize that person that we dated in 7th grade. Like there's stuff to be done. Or even trying to logicize what it is that you are feeling or what's coming to the surface. So that's one thing to be mindful of. I feel that that's mostly going to manifest for a lot of individuals. It's just having a hard time focusing, like you can find within the workplace, or just being distracted by social media, just wanting to connect, right? Wanting to harmonize with everybody and not really wanting to send the emails, not so much wanting to do that. But so long as you can stay on track on Monday, it does feel like a helpful day because the Gemini moon sextiles Jupiter in Aries. So we are feeling a little bit more optimistic, right? We're feeling a little bit more inclined to the big picture. So like I said, with this and with the Gemini moon building to trine Sun in Aquarius, is great to connect with coworkers or even just with your family to be able to dial in. What is it that we are excited about? What shifts do we want to make? Or what is our big picture, right? What is it that we want to feel? What is it that we want to move towards? It's very aligned for that. I will say that with the Gemini moon meeting up with Mars that evening, being mindful around your passions. Like I said, this is a pretty passionate week. A lot of individuals can have a hard time going to sleep. You could be feeling very restless. Like Gemini moon makes these thoughts go a mile a minute. So you could definitely find it's hard to unwind. I would try to stay off social media. You could find that you are drawn to, getting in petty beefs with individuals, with the Gemini moon meeting up with Mars, as well as you could be a little mouthy when it comes to the people that you live with or the people you interact with that evening. It can be helpful if there is something that you need to put your mind towards. So any of my loves who are in school, this is like aligned when it comes to studying or anything of that nature, because Mars is our motivation. Gemini moon is inclined towards the mental realm, the realm of word and thought. So it is very helpful when it comes to investing mental energy into what it is that you want to learn about. But I will say this is a sort of energy where, you could be a little quicker when it comes to what it is that you're feeling. You could be a little quicker with your mouth in regards to what it is that you're feeling. The group chat can be going crazy. You can be very busy on Twitter, beefing with the troll, just being mindful around where is it that I'm investing my energy? Because like I said, this is a passionate week, right? And sometimes our passion can get ignited, but not necessarily everything deserves our passion, right? Or our heart. And with this week, just think of the moon getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and just think of your emotions waxing right along with it, right? And allowing that certainly, but also knowing that you can be feeling a little bit more all over the place, a little bit more busy, a little bit more emotional, a little bit more erratic. So just something to keep in mind. So the astrology of Tuesday, January 31st, so reminds me of that movie trope that I was chatting about, where it's like, we know that big heartfelt moment is coming up, right? That's the Leo full moon. That's running to one another in the rain. That's running off to go get married. That's maybe stopping a wedding to be like, no, you should be with me. Like those over the top displays, right? And Tuesday's astrology just kind of reminds me of that sensation that you may have as a movie watcher where you're like, do you guys even know each other like that? Like that's always how I feel when I'm watching those movies. Like half of me is on board with the romance, right? The Pisces portion of my chart is a hopeless romantic. It's kind of been an issue in the past. If we have ever dated, I will write poetry about you until the day I pass away. And not even because it was ever that serious. It was never that serious. I just love, and I just love romanticizing everything. And so half of my chart is feeling it. I'm like, yes, go get her, run in the rain. And then half of my chart, like the Aquarius part of my chart, is like, do you guys even know each other? What do you mean you guys are gonna run off together? What do you mean you're gonna break up this wedding? Like, you know how much this wedding probably cost, right? Like these heartfelt lovers' quarrels and these heartfelt expressions don't always make sense, right? And the reason I bring this to the surface on Tuesday is because the Gemini moon squares off with Neptune. And that's the energy where it's like, do you guys even know one another, right? Sometimes we can romanticize the thought of someone, like me after every first date writing all this poetry. Like, do I even know this person? I do not. But I love the daydream fuel. I love the daydream fuel. We need daydream fuel. We need the muse, right? We need the one who got away, right? Maybe we don't even know the reality of it. And that's the part about Venus and Pisces that's interesting, because it is exalted, right? So we're feeling more romantic. We're more inclined to attune to the creative, to the inspired. But with Venus and Pisces, the downside of this placement, whether you have this natally, okay, if you're in the Pisces Venus club, I'm right there with you. It's not always a walk in the park. But whether you have this natally or when we're experiencing transit-wise, there could be a danger of putting people on a pedestal, right? Like me writing poetry about these people I do not know. Like, I do not know them, right? And then when I get too close to them, like date 3 or 4, I'm like, you're not acting like the idealized version of you that I built you up to be in my mind. I'm not really interested. I'd rather fantasize about the person that I built you up to be in my mind rather than the reality. Like, that's not a nice thing to do for the other person as well as for yourself. The upside of this day is that we can definitely view things a little bit more romantically. We could be more creative. We could be wanting to write. We could be seeing everything through this inspired lens. It's like romanticizing the little things. Romanticizing the lunch that we make, right? Putting a little garnish on and just finding the loveliness in it. Maybe it's romanticizing, your work crush at work or your school crush, the person that you have there. And the reality of the situation, you might not necessarily get married to your work crush, right? Your lunch, even with the garnish, even with you romanticizing and playing the music, like at the end of the day, it is just a cup of reheated spaghetti, right? But we as humans need romance to survive. And when I talk about romance, I'm not saying you need to go confess your love this week, right? I'm not saying you have to go run in the rain, go tell someone how you feel. But I am saying find those moments to inspire romance, right? There's a reason why it's so interwoven into so much media that we consume, is because we want that as humans. We crave that as humans. Those moments of artisticness, those moments of heart, right? Those moments of passion. So finding that within your world, and certainly with the moon square Neptune, you might not get married to the work crush. The spaghetti might not be that good, even with the pretty garnish and the way that you're displaying it all. But we need those little moments of romanticism. We need those little moments that infuse the magic into the mundane. That being said, on Tuesday, I would stray away from any detail work, as Neptune can have our mind in the clouds, right? We're idealizing, we're daydreaming, we're everywhere else except for where it is at that particular moment. Work can be a little annoying. Mundane tasks can be a little annoying. We're a little bit more inclined to just want to dream, just create, sleep. We could definitely be in our sleepy girl bag. Or some individuals with Neptune, we could be really craving an escape, just wanting to avoid responsibilities, avoid everything, go find a meadow to look up at the clouds at. Gosh, where the heck is a meadow? And on Tuesday, I would definitely say pay attention to your dreams with that moon square Neptune. Our dreams could be very, very interesting. Our intuition can be whispering to us. So again, pay attention. But when it comes to kind of planning out your week, which is really my intention for these, around just kind of mentally bucketing what we'll be feeling every day so that you can make sure, you plan the happy hour and a day you'll feel like happy houring. Tuesday would be good for things like that. Neptune does govern anything that is mind altering in that sense. There will be a call to escape. Again, do so constructively and helpfully. Avoid detail work, right? Avoid being around very stark situations that can impact you, because again, we could be feeling a little bit more emotional, a little bit more sensitive to the world around us. And, indulge in a daydream or two, indulge in some flirting with your work crush. No, it's not real, but not everything in life needs to be. We need romance. We need idealizing people. We need romanticizing your spaghetti. We need those moments as humans, right? Especially with Venus Pisces. Like when people talk about Pisces energy, you know, they're like, they're so delusional, they're in their own world. The reason that we are like that is because this world has disappointed us so much that we've had to create our own one. Like literally, there's this line in this Lana song that always makes me think of Pisces energy, and it's, I can't survive if this is all that's real. Like, that's always resonated with my soul as a Pisces. I've had to create my own world. I idealize, I romanticize, because if life is just about errands and bills and tasks, I'm not interested. Art and romance and spirit and love is what makes life worth living, right? So indulge in some of that, but just knowing that when it comes to details, you could be brushing over things. When it comes to tasks, you could be light years away. And when it comes to that bottle of wine, you could just be searching for that more and more and more. So again, always limits with Neptune aspects, but a nice day to get swept away. So Wednesday, February 1st, happy February, firstly. I feel like January flew by. Does anybody else feel that way? Usually January is such a slog for me, but that went so fast. I'm curious if anybody else has been feeling that. But what I want to let you know is that for PST, the moon will be void all morning until about afternoon. So being extra mindful with what it is that you take on from 3:58 a.m. to 12:11 p.m. PST, as the moon will be void during that time. And when the moon is void, important tasks we must avoid. However, it can be very helpful when it comes to mundane tasks, because the Gemini moon, you know, was all over the place on Tuesday, right? It was trying to do emails and it got distracted here, and then it was listening to this album and daydreaming about a date 3 years ago. It was all over the place, right? It was emotional, perhaps. It was creative, perhaps. It was just untethered. On Wednesday, it's a little bit more tethered. Saturn in Aquarius is like, okay, let's reel it in, let's focus, right? So it can be very aligned Wednesday morning when it comes to handling mundane tasks, getting on top of emails, getting on top of DMs, handling those little minutiae of your day. And then when the moon enters its rulership at 12:11 of Cancer, the emotions don't quite go away. It is very emotional, right? We are inclined to want to dive into our inner landscape, attuned to home and emotional state and our feels. And on Wednesday as well, the sun sextiles Chiron. And this is the part of the vibe check that I was saying. It could be healing to tell someone how it is that you feel. And sometimes when you've been holding it and you've been holding it and you've been holding it and you're like, I just need to tell you, like, I love you. There is something cathartic about that, right? Around really being able to be honest about it. Maybe it came up in an unexpected way. Again, with the energy of this building Sun square Uranus and Uranus being involved in this full moon, some of our expressions, some of our revelations, some of our actions this week can be a little bizarre or out there or erratic, or being like, I wasn't going to tell you that I loved you, or I wasn't going to commit to that trip, but I just did, right? We can be a little bit more restless and a little bit more impulsive. And while Wednesday's aspect isn't like that, I highlight that just because there is this healing vibe this week around being able to be honest about who it is that we are, or being able to like kind of feel like we're moving forward within our healing around being able to be like, okay, that came out a little bit more dramatic than I wanted it to, but at least you know how I feel, right? At least you know where it is that I stand, because I had this last week, but you know, Aquarius Sun, Chiron, and Aries, these are two signs that are about being fiercely and unapologetically yourself. And that's a theme this Aquarius season around just being fearless in the shining out of who it is that you are as a soul, as a human. And with Sun sextile Chiron, some individuals could be feeling this Uranus aspect around just giving up trying to fit in and just being like, whatever, I don't really care. I don't feel like playing that game. And when you stop playing the game, you kind of win, because you're no longer competing around feeling like you need to succeed or be in the way that everybody else is, right? You kind of reclaim your power in a sense. So I just want to say on Wednesday, there can be this energy, like let's say if you're feeling left out as it relates to the office politics, or all your coworkers got signed on for this new project and you didn't, or let's say, you know, you see your friends are hanging out without you, but there's almost this energy around, okay, yes, it might hurt, but I don't really care. I'm going to do my own thing anyway. I didn't really want to go eat at that place anyway with y'all. I didn't really want to be on that project, right? I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to be my own person rather than being like, why don't you guys bring me? Am I not good enough? It's like this energy around, I don't really care if I'm good enough for you. I'm good enough for me, and I enjoy hanging out with myself, and I'm gonna follow what it is that I like. Like, it just feels like this energy around, yes, we might be a little emotional with the Cancer moon, but there's this freeing, cathartic feeling around either being honest around who it is that we are, right? Or giving up the fight around trying to fit in, just being like, whatever, y'all do you, I'm gonna do me. And I do want to highlight also with the Cancer moon, there is an idealization of the past with the Cancer moon, right? Looking at the past, these rose-colored glasses. With the Cancer moon, just being mindful around where it is that you are idealizing the past, right? Like, sometimes when it comes to these movies, when they're running to this person, it's like, do you guys even know each other? Like, now, like, I know you guys were high school sweethearts, but like, will this relationship rationally make sense? Like, do you guys have the same values as it relates to how you want to raise your kids and how you guys handle finances? So just being mindful. We can romanticize the past if it makes the humdrum reality of day-to-day living go by faster, but just remember, we are building the future. You can romanticize the past without getting stuck there. On Thursday, the 2nd, it is Groundhog Day. Happy Groundhog Day. And the moon is in Cancer all day. It trines Venus in Pisces in the morning around 4:15. So really aligned day to find the beauty around you, eat a delicious breakfast, hug your beloved in the morning for an extra moment, really enjoy that time of playing with your kids, just looking for those little moments of loveliness and happiness around you. Like, if anybody else can relate, the moment that comes to my mind as I contemplate this energy is sometimes I wake up really early and like the morning light in my home is so pretty, and I water my plants first thing, and it just feels so calming and peaceful, and the light is sort of illuminating the plants in such a pretty way, and it's just this little lovely pocket of time. So finding that within yourself, whether that's a lovely little yoga class, a lovely little breakfast, a lovely little moment with a loved one, again, anchoring into those moments of heart, of love, of emotion, it makes life worth living. I will say on Thursday, there feels to be something that can be aggravating us or sort of pinging at our own insecurities. Again, yesterday was sort of the day around this clarity or this cathartic feeling around being honest about who it is that we are and giving up the fight of wanting to fit in. But on Thursday, it's like, they actually look like they did have fun at that restaurant last night. Like, why did they not invite me? Like, I don't really care, but they look like they had fun. And that happens midday, so some of you could be feeling that at work or with friends, or you'll want to look at where Cancer is at in your chart and where Aries is at in your chart, because it's the Cancer moon squaring off with Chiron and Aries. So that can help clue in around where these little pings around, oh, I have to heal that, or like, oh, that kind of hurts, or what have you, comes to the surface. That evening, my baking loves, my cooking loves, it's a great baking aspect, okay? It is a great baking aspect, especially if it is something new, a new recipe, a new rendition, making cupcakes and adding something just because it feels inspired. That is the vibe of the Cancer moon sextiling Uranus in Taurus, right? Allowing those little moments. Why just make cupcakes when you could add this rose extract and make it your own special little thing? Like, Cancer moon is inclined when it comes to the traditions and how it is that we are feeling, but with the sextile of Uranus and Taurus, it asks us to infuse it with a little eccentricity or novelty. And I just want to share, when there's Uranus weeks, things can feel very unstable. It can feel very uncertain. And for some individuals, it can feel maybe uneasy, right? I feel like we've been feeling this within the news lately. There's just a lot of anxiety occurring at the moment. And I just want to highlight, if you're feeling that on Thursday, ground down into your physical body, right? Which is why cooking and baking is so nice, around just anchoring in and focusing on making something. Or for my creatives, Thursday is really nice to just focus on playing your instrument, or just encouraging what just makes your soul feel safe, and encouraging this Uranus capability, which is novelty, right, is newness, and just allowing yourself to anchor and make yourself feel safe. Because again, especially with the ping to Chiron and Aries, there could be this energy around, am I safe? Is there enough for me? Am I good enough? And that, with the Cancer moon sextiling Uranus and Taurus afterwards, sort of this energy around, okay, we don't have all the answers quite yet, but let's just anchor down. Because again, with this building Uranus energy, we can just feel more restless and just like more nervous. A lot of people feel Uranus aspects as anxiety. So if you're feeling that on Thursday, ground into your physical body. Just work on making the most beautiful cupcakes that you can make, or writing the most beautiful song that you can, or having a beautiful walk with your dog, anything that anchors you into the present moment. So on Friday the 3rd, this is when Sun square Uranus exacts. Again, we feel aspects as they build and we feel them as they separate. So there can be this call, this Uranus call, to either break out of convention, right? Like the conventional thing to do, if this movie was a real life, is let this person get married. It's just your childhood sweetheart. You don't know anything about each other as adults, right? Maybe just let them have their happy little life. And with the square to Uranus, it's like, no, I've got to tell them now. Or around, maybe it would be the easy thing to go along with everybody else wants, but there's this break around being our own person. Maybe it would be the easy thing to make the sort of art or creations that your industry requires, or what's trending on social media, or what have you. But there's just this call around, what's the purpose of doing what everybody else is doing? I need to be my own person. That's what makes life worth living, right? And with Sun square Uranus, as I highlighted, there could be unusual news. There can be things that put us on edge, things that are erratic. We're feeling very restless. Like, I need to do something. I don't know. I just need to break out. Like, a lot of times we feel Uranus aspects is like we're wearing a sweater that's too small. It's like, I just need to get out of this. Oh my gosh, my course, Self-Care Astrology, which again, the Align workshop series, is enrolling now. So some fun perks if you want to jump in before February 11th. But the first round, because I've been working on that course since 2020, and the first round of filming it, I was in this astrology dress. It has these like little engraved glyphs all over it. I love it. My friend gave it to me. Unfortunately, it is too small. It is too small. That's just the fact of the matter. So it was like every time I'd sit down to make this course, I would like wrestle myself into it and then panic trying to get it out. Because like, I'm telling you, once you're stuck in something, you're like, oh my gosh, like you just start to panic, right? And I remember my friends and I were going to go meet up for matcha, and my friend was coming to pick me up, and I was like, girl, I can't go. Just go to matcha without me. I'm stuck in this dress, because I was panicking. I could not get it off. I was like, so I need to cut it. I've already done this course halfway. Like, I always wanted to wear the same outfit so it feels more of a flow. And she was like, girl, no, I'll help you get out of that dress. It took us like 30 minutes to get us out of the dress. And needless to say, I just started the course over again in a dress that feels much better for me, that I can get in and out of with ease. And I highlight that just because that's what our life can be feeling right now. Like, we're like, I want change. I want something different. I want to do something different. I need something new in my life. And it's almost like when you feel that something's too small or constricting, again, the old version of ourselves, the relationship that doesn't fit, the job that doesn't fit, we start to panic. We're like, just get me out of it. And the reason I highlight this is because with Uranus, we can feel inclined to want to take impulsive, erratic actions. Just be like, I just need to quit my job and forget everything, or I just need to stop this wedding because I want to be with that person, right? And I always say with Uranus aspects, like, certainly embrace these calls to do your own thing, to rebel in your own ways, but also just observe where it is that you can just be craving change just because you're bored or just want something different. Like, is that your soulmate? Or are you just bored and want to crash a wedding, right? To bring it back to the vibe check. And again, your heart will tell you, right? Like, I'm not saying resist change, because this is a Leo full moon that's essentially spotlighting where heart is and where heart isn't. And if you're noticing, hey, my heart is not in this project, my heart is not in this relationship, my heart is not in this friendship, like, that is a nudge from the cosmos to essentially say, what are the changes that'll help you to get there? But observe where it's coming from, this heart-centered place around, I just know that I am not invested in this, or my heart is not this, or I don't have room to grow any longer here, right? That's different than being like, I'm bored, so I'm just going to cut my hair and do something drastically different, right? So attuning to that, and like I said with the day prior, sometimes we can feel more anxious. There can be crazy news, things that are unexpected developments. So just bracing yourself with that, especially as we build to the full moon on Sunday. So our lunar aspect, so in the morning, the Cancer moon opposes Mercury in Capricorn. So there can be a tendency to want to react emotionally to something that is very logical, right? So just being mindful around, like, maybe your coworker's giving you feedback and you're like, ouch, I thought we were friends, Lydia. What do you mean my PowerPoint looks sloppy? Like, we can be reacting a little emotionally to little bits. Again, Mercury's still clearing the shadows, so just like kind of pointing out certain things that we can clear up. Like, again, there's a forward momentum here, but there can still be this slower forward momentum around, okay, we're ready to launch this thing. Let's dial in these little initiatives, these little pieces. And with the Cancer moon, there can be miscommunications. There could be an emotional tilt as it relates to our communication. The Cancer moon trines Neptune, so absolutely idealize everything, romanticize everything. Maybe that's how you break the norm, right? With Sun square Uranus, we're craving something different. So maybe you're not even in love with that person at work, but it's just something different to romanticize about someone. Maybe you're not going to quit your job and go to New York and work at the magazine, but it's just fun to daydream about something. Like again, with the Cancer moon trine Neptune, we could be feeling more emotional as well as just more in our head about things. And then that evening, the Cancer moon does oppose Pluto. And like I said, Uranus usually makes for interesting news cycles. So I'm curious if some news is going to come to the surface on Friday. And with the Cancer moon opposing Pluto, there could be this tendency around reacting very emotionally towards it. Or even, I would highlight, like tilting towards this energy of intensity around being like, oh, why should I even try? This world is so corrupt. It is not. Remember to anchor into what is real within your life, the love that is real within your life, the nature that is real within your life. Just important to give yourself on Friday, especially if you feel yourself getting to that dejected point, right, of being frustrated by Pluto and Capricorn themes like capitalism or government or that bad feedback from your authority figures. Like there just feels to be energy around taking things really emotionally. Remember to anchor into your heart space and give yourself what is nourishing, what is real within your world. So on Saturday the 4th, shortly after midnight, the moon enters Leo, which is the sign of the full moon. So again, high tensions, high emotions, a lot is coming to the surface and we're feeling it all strong, right? And that's compounded by Venus in Pisces squaring Mars in Gemini. Like this is that impulsive turning moment in the movie when they are just running to their beloved. Maybe they're idealizing this person, maybe they don't know the reality of it, but they're getting carried away, right? In that sweep of passion, right? In those moments. And again, love doesn't always make sense, right? The romance doesn't always make sense. It just is an emotion. It's something that sweeps you away. These are the two passion planets, again, Venus and Mars. So we can be a little bit more bickering. We can have a lover's quarrel again. We can be a little bit more impulsive as it relates to our finances. We can find that we are more inclined to follow our heart wherever it leads us. Again, follow our heart to that boutique. Follow our heart as it relates to that person. It would be aligned, like I'm saying, it's passionate, but passion, when we talk about passion, love is closer to hate than apathy, right? Like when it comes to love-hate, which is why there's oftentimes that enemy to lovers trope, right? When someone incites a lot of strong emotions in you, oftentimes it can tilt towards these like explosive fights. And again, that's not always healthy. I'm not saying this is healthy, but I'm just saying on Saturday, it can be very passionate in a myriad of ways. Put that passion towards your art. Put that passion towards those that you love. Put that passion towards that side project that you're building. There could just be this erratic, all over the place energy, right? Like that final moment in the movie when they're running to each other, like it's raw, it's messy, they're running, it's not neat and dry, it's not in the schedule, right? They're following their heart, they're following their impulses, they're running towards it. So I would say this weekend, like expect for things not to run exactly on schedule. Especially with the Sun square Uranus happening the prior day and the full moon, like there could just be unexpected events. And with Venus square Mars, like allowing yourself to follow your heart, follow muse, right? With Venus in Pisces, follow what your heart is telling you, follow what it is that you're inspired by. If you suddenly get a call where it's like, I need to go to this museum, or like you and I, let's go do something romantic, like allow those moments, right? And I would love to know, this is safe space. What is the most over the top thing that you've done for love or that someone in love with you has done for you? I would love to know. I have so many that I can't even think of them, but one of them that just comes to mind. Firstly, I've always had a crush ever since I've had memory. Ever since I was in school or even in preschool, I had crushes. Like I've just always had a crush. Like that is fuel for my soul. Again, not great, not great. Blame the Pisces Venus in the 7th house. Okay, that is her deal. Anyways, so I've always had a crush, always had someone that I had my eye on or liked or would daydream about, whatever. And I think he was a boyfriend in 7th grade. Like we didn't drive or anything. He lived many towns over and this dude straight up walked, I think it was 16 miles. He walked 16 miles to come see me on a Saturday because our parents wouldn't drive us to see one another. And this dude walked. It was a hot day too. It was in summertime. And I think we hung out for like 10 minutes at the park and then he had to go home for dinner. So the things that we do for love. So on Sunday, the 5th, is the Leo full moon. It exacts at 10:29 a.m. I do have a dedicated all signs deep dive. If you want to see where this heartfelt revelation, this desire to break out of expectation is building within your chart, you'll want to check that out. And it really is about following our heart and seeing where it is that it leads. Like, obviously there's the logical mind. When we watch these movies, we shouldn't, go crash someone's wedding just because we dated this person in our youth and still have a soft spot for them. Like, we shouldn't just run towards someone in the rain, even though we've spent the entire movie hating them because all of a sudden we decide that they love them. Like, obviously that's not realistic, right? But even if it's not playing out in a romantic way this week, there can be this desire just around following your heart. Like, what is that stirring that keeps speaking to you, right? Where it's like, I'm trying to just work this job. But there's this stirring that's speaking to me around, I just want to do art. I just want to do art. I just want to highlight. Your passions are not random. Like, they were picked for you, and your heart will tell you. Like, that's why we always have this cliche, follow your heart business, because your heart has a lot to say, what your heart is in and what it is not. Because when you plug into the heart space, there's truly nothing that you cannot do. People feel that from you. They feel that passion from you. So whether you're feeling it around, why did I give up drama? Like, I need to get enrolled in a play, or why am I not with this person? I need to tell them how I feel. Again, not me saying you should reach out to your ex. That is not what I'm saying. But it is an aligned time to really check in and be like, what does my heart say? And for some of you, it could have been a stifling or it could have been a whisper that you've been trying to suppress. It's like, no, it would be easier, or society tells me that I should be doing it this way, or it's not, conventional to love you, or whatever it is, like this suppressing of it, right? But there's this energy with the square to Uranus. We don't want to play that game anymore. We're not interested in competing. We're not interested in fitting in, right? It's like, I'm going to follow my heart and my passions because it's so much better to live with heart and with passion than not at all, right? It gives life that extra bit of drama and fun and color and expression, even if it's not clean, right? Even if it's not normal. So make sure to check out the All Signs Deep Dive to find out more on this Leo full moon and what heartfelt illumination is coming to the surface. My love, the Magic Monday mantra of the week is, I follow my heart. No surprise there, but truly listen to your heart and its whispers. Notice what it is that you long for, right? Where it is that you feel alive. What connections in your life make you feel like more of yourself, more in love with life, right? And which of them feel like they're dimming your colors a little bit, that you feel like you have less space to shine, right? This full moon is about allowing ourselves to celebrate the person that we are, the light that we exude, and celebrate the passion that we illuminate. Because I'm telling you, when you plug in that heart space and do what it is that you love, there is nothing that gets in your way. When you are around the people who love, it's just like you're charged up by this extra energy source, right? Like, you tap into this whole other sensation of your power. So obviously this week's mantra, it's a little cliche. We hear it all the time, but I want you to anchor into it. I follow my heart. Your passions are clues. Those situations that make you feel more alive and excited, those are clues. Those subjects that just make you feel all warm and excited and energized, those are clues, right? Follow it. Follow its whispers. Follow what lights you up. Follow those passions, even if it feels childlike, or even if it feels dramatic, or what have you. The Leo full moon whispers to listen to the most raw, authentic, pure, sunshine part of ourselves and to follow it implicitly. So my love, that is our forecast for the week ahead. Please make sure to check out the 2 offerings that I am currently enrolling for. We take a deep dive into the moon within Luminary of Self-Care, and we take a deep dive into the entirety of the natal chart within Self-Care Astrology, the Align Workshop series. So check those out below. My Instagram handle is @Comet Astrology. My TikTok is the same. I would love to connect with you over there. And until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay